Hey guys, this is Comic Uno, and today I'm doing a review for Arrow Season 2, Episode 4, called Crucible. And I gotta say, I was pretty excited to see this episode because it's a Black Canary, pretty centric Black Canary episode, because we learned who Black Canary is finally in the show. Now, personally, I already knew who Black Canary was. It was announced during San Diego Comic-Con. But we have the big reveal in this episode for Oliver and everyone else. Well, pretty much Oliver, Felicity, and Dig, who find out in this episode. So we find out that Black Canary is Sarah Lance. So it is Laurel's sister. And the reason she's in Starling City is to look after her family after the earthquake, but she doesn't want to tell her family that she's alive. Because she's done bad things. And this is the reason that this episode is called Crucible, because she has done bad things and she's just used to pain so much that I guess she just wants to keep it. And we do get to see flashbacks, because we find out that Oliver did lie. He knew that she was alive after the flooding and after, the drowning of the boat, what all started all this. So Sarah actually was on this other boat where we saw in the last episode that is called the Amazo boat, because a lot of people thought that was a reference to Wonder Woman, which it could be. But yeah, they're on this boat, he is held captive, and in the end of the episode we find out that's exactly where he sees her for the first time. And she's become a dark character at that point. We don't know how she survived, and then it seems like the next episode we'll find out more how she's connected to the League of Assassins. Which I'm totally excited for. And then we have Laurel's story. She's in a bad area now. She's in a bad place. She is turning into her father. She is turning to drinking and now even drugs to really try to make the pain go away for herself, because of Tommy, because of being kidnapped, and she feels that she doesn't have people to turn to, but she's like, oh, that's my father, that's not me, I have no problem. So she is in the denial stage of all this, so I'm sure we're going to see more of that Laurel story, especially connected to Sarah, as the episodes go on. But the big villain of this episode was the mayor. He's keeping all the guns of Starling City. This is also has an event with Oliver and Sebastian Blood, and actually Roy and Thea and Sin. And Sin actually gets shot at this event because, again, the mayor is big on guns and everything. He shoots everybody and Sin gets shot. So now we're seeing a friendship combined with Sin, Roy, and Thea, which I'm really interested in because that's also a Black Canary connection. And also, I want to learn a little bit more about Sin, because she's a totally different character than she is in the comics. In the comics, she's like a 7-year-old child, so Sin is actually now, I guess, a teenager like Roy and Thea. So I'm very interested to see where her character goes. And then in that episode, this is spoiler alert, this is like a big spoiler, Sebastian Blood, which, if you read the comics, I feel like you probably would have already known this, but he is the head of the League of Assassins. In the outside world, he's like, yes, I'm for Starling City, but he is the head of the League of Assassins, and is now working with the mayor, and put some shot into the mayor. I think it might have been Vertigo, because I know Vertigo's supposed to come back soon, so I think that's what it is, or maybe it's another thing, I don't know. Honestly, I don't know much about Sebastian Blood, but I did know he's a villain, so now we're going to see him become more of a villain, because he's part of the League of Assassins, which again will be more of the next episode. We'll see if Oliver finds out about Sebastian Blood, because he has been playing a major player throughout the season so far. But yeah, this was a great episode. Really small complaints here, really none at all. I would say maybe the mayor portion wasn't as interesting as I wanted to be, but then we got Sebastian Blood out of that, so that really wasn't a problem. The flashbacks actually connected to something here. It actually felt like I wanted these flashbacks now, because I always felt like flashbacks were like a moment of fresh air type of portion of the episode, not really dealing with what's going on in the current story, but in this episode it's connected with Black Canary. So you really don't have any fresh air, which I like in an episode. I like being on the edge of my seat throughout the whole episode and my heart beating really quickly, and having that tension. And I feel like throughout this whole episode you had it. You had that tension, because you want to learn more about Black Canary. She's an interesting character. I still don't know about the actress. I don't know, her voice is a little bit on the monotone side and a little on the emotionless side, but I hope that character and her actress and her playing this character grows on me a little, which I think it will just because the story's so interesting with her. And I think she acts normal when she's just Sarah, but as Black Canary she sounds a little weird to me. But still very interested to see where her character goes. That was definitely the most interesting part of this episode. What made this episode was Black Canary and learning about her. And then the only tiny bit thing I had was I felt Oliver's lie wasn't progressed in previous episodes. It didn't seem like he was lying, and usually in those things, if it was planned earlier, it would be like Oliver's hiding something, but it didn't seem like he was. So it kind of came out of the blue in this episode. It was like, oh, he knew she didn't die, but could have died and didn't actually drown. That's felt very suspicious, because then he would have been very suspicious that Black Canary is Sarah. Especially since the mask is not really hiding that much. So it was a little, it was a little weird that we didn't, that he didn't figure that out. And it was a little weird how he's like, yeah, I do know about Sarah, and just came up with that in this episode. But honestly, that was just a tiny bit, really, that bothered me in this episode, but that didn't really bother me that much throughout the whole episode, because you kind of forget about it, because there's so much going on with the story that you're just really interested in. And then the last part where, Sarah's like, yeah, maybe I should tell my sister and father that I'm alive. And it seems like in the next episode, cross our fingers, nothing gets in the way. And I really want to see Sarah have a secret identity like Oliver does. I think that could be really interesting. And one thing I'm really intrigued with the flashbacks now is that, again, it's connecting more to the actual events of the present time. And that's where the flashbacks should have been doing. It should have been a parallel to what's actually happening, because it makes the whole story intriguing. It doesn't feel like two different shows. And this, it really didn't feel like two different shows. And now we're going to have both their stories. And, we were just getting Oliver's past, where I feel that it could have gone a little bit on the boring side, for me at least, on the island. I was like, alright, we kind of get it. It was the same thing. Something explodes. They want to get off the island. But now it's these two really interesting stories of Sarah's past and how she got to the stage, and Oliver's past and how they crossed paths. And also love seeing the Haitian from Heroes. I love seeing actors from Heroes and, shows from the past. And I thought he played a pretty good role here. Even though we didn't really get to see him that much. It's always fun seeing him, Jimmy, Gene, Lewis. I thought that was fun to see him as a kind of villain in this episode. Really, again, just getting Sarah and Oliver to meet each other in the flashbacks. But yeah, really good episode. I would say this was the best episode of the season so far, and I think with every episode, it just keeps getting better. I was on the edge of my seat, really had no problems with this episode. I will be watching this episode again. It was one of those episodes I'm like, wow, I really love this. I can't wait for next week, and I actually want to go back to it. And I think that's been a big thing with Arrow now with all season 2. It's something I want to go back to, and every episode makes me excited for the next. And with season 1, I didn't feel that way. And I just think it's such a stronger show than it was with season 1. But I loved it. Tell me in the comments below what you thought about the episode. Are you excited for Black Canary? What are some theories you have? Do you think she will tell Laurel and her father? And question, do you think Laurel's downturn and her spiral down wherever she's going is gonna make her have the journey to become Black Canary? Because the producers, the writers, they're saying that Laurel probably will be Black Canary, but she has to have a journey. Do you think this is the start of her journey, her going into a darker place to maybe accept the vigilante and go into the stage of being Black Canary? Tell me in the comments below. Tell me what you guys thought about this episode, and don't forget to follow me on Twitter for Comic Uno and the random situations, and don't forget to like my Facebook page. And I'll see you guys later. Love this episode. I will give it 4.5 out of 5 stars. Very close to being 5 stars. Really enjoyed this one. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.